One of our regulars on the show, Steve Gower, pointed out last week that this film is being made about what he's been doing in Gloucester and the homeless situation in Gloucester and people sleeping rough. And this is a trailer for it.
He said that the supported system in Gloucester was fit for purpose, basically. At which stage I just got up and just said that you're a liar. I got asked by the mayor to go out to the council. I said I'm going, but he's still a liar.
Back in the summer of 2019, I met someone called Steve Gower. He had been working as a homeless advocate for 3 years. After being homeless himself, picked himself up, did a load of qualifications, taught himself the law, read everything to do with legislation, and empowered himself to not only support people who had essentially gone through the same crisis very similar to what he had, but stop people from falling into the trap altogether and actually starting to break the cycle of homelessness. Hi everyone, my name is Sam and I am the director of this documentary. The reason I was intrigued by what Steve was doing was he was doing something a bit different. He was helping people to navigate the system, and there was hope, and there was ideas, and there were plans, and there was something bigger and greater that seemed to be taking foot. The reason, obviously, I'm asking for your help is we'd like to get this film finished and made and out into the wider world. And we're not at the starting point. We're not in the starting blocks. We're about halfway through the race. We've filmed everything that we want to film. Now, simply all we need to do is edit, which is fantastic. And what I'd love to do is show the film. If you think what we're doing is important, if you think what we're doing should be seen, and you'd like the voices of the homeless community in and around Gloucester to be heard, I'd love for you to help us to do that.
And here's one of my favourite things. Oh, he's gone across quite quietly. Normally they thunder across here.
We are so blessed, all right, because it's Sarah and myself and Suka and what have you. Whoever does this will understand what I'm saying. The word gets round, all right, that you are genuine, all right? And there's nothing better than saying, the little Johnny coming up to you and saying, look, can you help little Jimmy? You've helped me, now can you help him? What could be more fulfilling than that? You know what I mean? Helping people.
Steve.
Hiya, Chris.
I've got the job. It's Tuesday next week.
Oh, excellent.
Brilliant. 8 o'clock.
Oh, brilliant. Well done, my man. Brilliant.
Safe night. I'll speak to you soon.
Yes, but yeah, that's true. Yeah, I forgot that. You got my number.
See you later.
See ya.
My office.
Yeah, your office.
Yeah, my office. Oh, bless him.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's good news,
That's
isn't
nice.
it?
That's good news.
Should have had that. Do you have that on camera?
Joined by Steve Gower and Sam Pope. Thank you for both coming on. Sorry to keep you a bit later than we planned. How are you doing, Steve?
I'm doing really well, and thank you for this opportunity to come on your platform. It's been really appreciated.
No, it's no problem at all. Can you tell us a bit about your background to this?
Yeah, I was 49 years old. I left a relationship, like many men do, and thought I would be housed, or walked, and I thought I'd be housed within about 3 weeks or a fortnight, and that wasn't the case. I'd worked all my life, and yet I didn't have nowhere to live, and there was no facilities for me, as there are not for millions of us. Because of my background in building, I had an NEBOSH health and safety certificate, thank God. And to cut a long story short, I pushed I lived in an accommodation that I wouldn't put workmen in as a canteen. It was just awful. I lived in what was now I realise is about the same size, if not smaller, than a police cell. I wasn't sure if the bed I was sleeping in that night, anyone had died in it before the night before. And I just became completely inverted. I was normally a go-in person, but it was a shock and trauma of that. And it took me about 3 months living in that accommodation, shared accommodation, sharing the toilet, the bathroom, and the kitchen. And it took me, like I said, it took me 3 months to sort of build myself up again, by which time then I obviously met the individuals that I was sharing them facilities with, and I got to know them. But for the grace of God, that would have been my life that they had known for all their time. But I just wanted to highlight the fact that the position that we're in now, to jump a gun a bit, is the fact that nothing's hardly changed. When I started advocating for people, because that's basically what I'd done, I didn't even know I was an advocate. Somebody had to tell me that. There were regular news reports of people dying in hospital, as in the toilets, where they'd been dead for about 2 or 3 days. And the cleaner eventually found out because of the smell, I'm assuming. There was supported living, where people had died in their accommodation. And again, they hadn't been found for weeks. And that was supported living. That was happening then. And then suddenly the news agencies all stopped talking about it. And thankfully then I come across Sam, who's the director of this film, and asked if, well, he'll tell you more than likely that he wanted to do a documentary. And I thought, yeah, because this needs to be said, this needs to be documented, this needs to be told, because I know why these people, as in the people on this platform, on this Zoom now, and the general public, are scared to lose their jobs or get evicted from their house, or a private landlord, or all council housing. And you should be scared, because there is still nothing out there. When the MP, or I should say the Birmingham mayor went to Finland and said, I'm going to sort this lot out, it's called Housing First. Believe me, I said then, and I repeat it now, that the UK version of Housing First will fail, and it has spectacularly. It's not what it says on the tin. They've taken all the money, the bits that make the money, and everything else is just the supported, which is the most important part, is left to the wind, scattered to the wind, because you don't make money on it. So, but I'd like to bring Sam in, if that's all right, because
Sure.
Obviously it's a documentary.
Sam, do you want to tell us how you took on this job of doing this documentary? It looks fantastic what you've shot already on that preview.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for the invitation this morning. It's thank you for the opportunity. It's great to kind of champion what Steve's been up to all these years. The trailer that you played is our crowdfunder trailer. So we did a little crowdfunder a while ago, just to kind of keep us going, keep us ticking over. So we're sort of grassroots, independent, and we've pretty much just been funded pretty much exclusively from public donations, really generous individuals. And we've had a few donations and support of larger sums of money as well. But it's purely been running on sort of people power, which has been fantastic. And the support we've had so far has been amazing. And I suppose when I first met Steve, this was 2019. And we were introduced via a mutual friend. So I think Steve at the time, since 2016, like Steve was saying, he'd been working as a homeless advocate, which essentially just meant that he was going around for free, finding people on the streets of Gloucester who had just become homeless for whatever reason. And him and a few of his colleagues, who were also homeless advocates, doing pretty much exactly the same thing, were taken to them to see the housing officer, were finding out if they were all right, what do they need, have they got somewhere to live, what's their situation, and just kind of helping them and making sure that they didn't fall through the cracks. And I suppose my real interest in what Steve was doing was he was able to kind of answer so many of the questions I had about why the homeless situation in Gloucester was as it was. Why was it so bad? Why were so many people dying? Why weren't the deaths being recorded even on the death certificate? Why were so many people on, waiting lists? Why were there so many people who were more, I suppose, more comfortable being homeless than actually going into HMOs, which are these big sort of, you know, Georgian houses that are converted where you've got 20 people in one building. You know, why were they scared to go into those types of places, and why were so many people dying there? And yeah, it was shocking, really, really shocking. And sadly, a lot of the reasons why, it's to do with cuts, obviously. It's to do with the fact that private companies are kind of entrusted with the lives of really, really vulnerable people. And obviously their priorities are, sadly, a lot of the time financial, and the human part of it is always missing. Very much like what Steve was saying about housing first. Housing first, the Finnish model, it does work. But what you need to do is, it's not just about getting them off the street and into a building and into a house. It's actually giving them the really, really crucial mental health wraparound care straight away, and not letting them just kind of fester, essentially, and just fend for themselves, which is unfortunately what the system we have at the moment. Obviously, since we started shooting the film, which was in 2019, this was obviously pre-COVID. And the backdrop of this, obviously, and my interest, was the years of austerity and the damage that obviously that had done. And what we did essentially over the last couple of years is I've kind of followed Steve around, and we've just kind of been documenting what he's been up to. And what Steve's managed to do is really, really, really fantastic. He's gone from someone who found himself in that really precarious situation, which can happen to any of us, it really can, and he managed to completely transform his life, and not only get himself out of it, but then, instead of just sort of carrying on and not looking back, he did this really wonderful and profound thing, where he decided, I can't stomach the idea of anyone else falling into this trap needlessly, and he felt he needed to do something. And the thing that really grabbed me was the idea he had to do something other than just firefighting, was to actually set up an idea, maybe a cooperative, maybe an alternative to the private companies, where it's not money driven, where instead of firefighting, you're actually helping these vulnerable people straight away, and you can do it in a different way. And that was so compelling. And I guess obviously the reason that we'd love your help, everyone, is just because we'd like to get this film done and finished. The good thing about it at the moment is we're not kind of halfway through. We're editing, so we're locked into a room, sat in front of Premiere Pro, chipping away at sort of 5 hard drives worth of footage. So my poor editor Catherine's got a work cut out for her, but we think we've got a really good, compelling story. And we just love to share it with everyone. So,
well, it sounds like it's going to be a fantastic film when it's out, and I'm hopeful that people on this call will help in some way, and I'll put the clip onto YouTube as well of this discussion to amplify that even more. Thank you.
Say something, Crispin, before I go. Sorry, Can I just say something? We're on tour at the moment, trying to do a fundraiser for it, so I'm more than happy. We've already done one in Stroud, where we're just touring with the clip at the moment for fundraising, but actually having a Q&A, because there's so many things that I'd love to say, and there's so many issues that people want to know, and I'm offering to travel around the country and promote this doc. And if anyone's interested, please get in touch with us or through the website or what have you, because we done about 45-minute stint in Stroud, and it could have gone on for 2 hours. But we had to, because of time, we had to. But I'm just, if I could put that out there as well, please.